Hey there, small business owners. Ever feel like your online presence needs a serious upgrade? Introducing the Autumn Agency, your go-to for professional website design. We understand the importance of a strong online presence beyond just social media. At the Autumn Agency, we take the time to understand your business, define your brand, and build a website tailored to your needs and budget. Yes, we even offer flexible payment plans. Relax and let us be your autumn, bringing peace and growth to your business this season. Visit us today at theautomagency.co and transform your online presence. Let us be your autumn.
I haven't shopped at Target since I moved. Target doesn't give a darn. They don't sponsor local ball teams.
They do not.
You know,
but your mom and pop businesses do.
And they need as much help
as they help us in the community.
Right, because you close down a store, not only you lose tax revenue, you lose jobs. People now have to leave, go elsewhere to shop. So your other businesses are going to suffer because of it. And like I said, Target doesn't sponsor the high school football team or the booster club or whatever.
They don't have to.
No.
Everybody knows who they are.
Yeah. And they don't miss you.
No, they don't miss you. Welcome to What's Up Crossville, your go-to podcast for all the happenings in our quaint Tennessee town. Whether you've been here for generations or have just moved to enjoy our slower, friendlier pace of life, this is the place to connect with the heart and soul of Crossville. Here, we dive deep into the facts, share true stories, and get to know our neighbors a little bit better. Each episode aims to inform, inspire, and entertain, steering clear of the negative noise and controversies often found outside in the world today. This is Melissa Ellis, and I'm here to ask, what's up, Crossville? So today on What's Up, Crossville, I have Mary Ann Gilfillan, and I just said that I was going to have an issue with your last name, and you said you took 3 months to learn it, so I'm going to let it pass.
Gilfillan.
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah. Very good.
And you're the photographer of, but this is your business, Altered Life Photography.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's so incredible because I've become very accustomed to your photographs. They're gorgeous. So many people are drawn to doing photography. Usually it starts with, I bought a fancy camera and I'm going to be a photographer. I'm one of those, I have a fancy iPhone and I take pictures and then I filter it, I play Photoshop with it, and then I have to crop it and it still looks like crap. So it's, any kind of artistic medium that I cannot do, I'm very envious of, and I'm very drawn to.
I don't even know Photoshop, so there.
Ooh, so that tells me that you just have an incredible eye.
Well, thank you. No, I don't, and this is a whole other subject, like AI and how you can mess with photos. I don't like that. It's just not, I might tweak them a bit.
Right.
But not like, you see the photos of the Empire State Building or Statue of Liberty and the moon is right there. That's Photoshop.
You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't do that. I don't know Photoshop. I don't own it. I'm hoping to learn it because there are some things you can do with it.
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's what I prefer is to get true natural beauty of something.
Yeah.
And not everybody always agrees. Like my husband's like, you have this thing about fence posts. I'm like, well, if the sun's hitting it right in this, it's really pretty.
Okay.
And he's like, okay. Like every time we pass a field of cows, he asks me, do you know them? Because I love cows and I photograph cows a lot, barns, that sort of thing.
No, like I was saying, people, they get cameras, they want to do photography, they want to do weddings, they want to do newborn photos. No. And I always thought that if I could do photography, I rank photography right up there with dance. Those are the two things I cannot do, and I wish I could. I would always want to do landscapes.
and natural, because there's just something so, I feel like maybe it wouldn't be as complex, because I know human people they have their own minds. And
Right.
I mean, I've had photographs of me where they're like, okay, relax your face. I'm like, okay, I'm really relaxing. And it looks like I'm still,
The best photos of me
Straining.
are when I've had a beer or two, and then I'm relaxed. But I hate having my picture taken. I prefer to be behind the camera.
I'm not photogenic. I am not. And I think that is the greatest thing I've ever heard, is having a beer or two before pictures. Because when I do music, I do have to have photos of me. And I usually don't like photos of me singing, because I get into the music and my face does all sorts of not so pretty things.
Well, if you see some concert photos out there, you'll see that 99% of musical artists do make a face.
But they look so good when they do it, and I don't. And so it's a comparison thing.
Yeah, that's also your opinion.
Yeah, my perception is my reality.
Also, there's some photographers that do like promotional stuff like that.
Yeah.
They know how to put people at ease and,
Yes.
and how to set the stage or whatever to make the person feel comfortable and at home. And that's just not my thing. A friend of mine, when we go visit them in Florida, every night I'm like, let's go to the beach, watch the sunset. And he's like, you've seen one, you've seen them all.
You're like, oh no, this one's different.
They're all different.
It's like a snowflake.
If there's clouds in the sky, just different. Yeah, sunrise, sunset, old barns, flowers.
Now, I love old barns. I'm not going to lie. Every time I see any of your old barn photos, I'm like, I love old barns. I do.
There's a story in that wood.
Yes.
And in that barn. I was in a barn up near Cookville. A lady, I met her at the Firefly Festival. She bought one of my photos. And then she's like, do you photograph? Like, would you come out and photograph? And I'm like, sure. Here's my card. Shoot me an email. Well, a half hour later, I had an email from her. And I went out there, and in this barn, the previous owners, it was an old horse barn, Christmas stuff, old bikes, really cool stuff. So I did a bunch of photos for her and sent her to them. And it was fun. I enjoyed digging around. Okay, the birds flying in and out may freak me out a little bit, but it was really cool. And it's like, wow, if this barn could talk, the stories it holds.
Oh, I bet.
Like old abandoned houses.
Okay, and I think and I've always felt like that's my kind of thing. Is I like horror. I like eerie things. I like very ominous looking, and I feel like dilapidated houses, old abandoned houses, abandoned barns.
It's like
I'm drawn to, because there's something, I don't want to say dark, but just kind of eerie. And I think
like,
there's a beauty in
yes.
eeriness.
Who lived there?
Yeah.
What those, like, if these walls could talk.
It's the unknown.
No. Yes. Right.
That's the eeriness.
Like,
We don't know, but I'm very drawn to not knowing.
They left like the luggage sitting there. Like, well, why would you leave a house and leave behind belongings and stuff?
I'm in a Facebook group called, I think it's Abandoned Tennessee.
Yes.
And so they will post pictures of abandoned homes, and they're beautiful. Some of them are mansions.
Yeah.
And then some of them have everything left behind. Like
somebody
beds.
died there or something, and
It looks like a whole
bothered.
family. It looks like a whole family lived there, and they just decided one day, we're just going to live off the grid, and we're just going to leave all of our crap here. And that's what it looks like. And I'm
I feel like that.
There are days I feel like that. But I live paycheck to paycheck. I'm a human. I'm normal. I look at that. I'm like, how do you leave such a gorgeous home? And it's big, and it fits like, I've 4 kids. So I look at it like, it fits a whole family. And you left everything, even your clothes. Well,
I was told, because I used to, when I lived in Chicago, I did real estate and mortgages.
Okay.
And when homes were going in foreclosure and banks were buying back the homes or taking them back and then selling them, and you'd go in and you'd see, like, in the kids' room, there's a doll left behind. And it was sad.
That's what, when I see like kids things, that's why I'm like, oh, it wasn't a death. Was it just you guys?
Yeah, and I was told people would like just pack up and leave in the middle of the night. And I can't imagine, though I've always said if I had to live out of my car, I could do whatever I needed to do. But I just can't imagine that.
I think I could live out of my car. I feel like I have sometimes in my
Well,
life.
yeah. When my husband gets in my car, he's like, is this what, a driving trash can?
Right. And I tell
"Oh,
people, I'm sorry, I live in this thing. I mean, like I go home and sleep in a bed and everything, but I mean, I live in my car, especially when I was playing music full time.
Yeah.
I lived in it. So there was garbage on the floor. There was garbage in the seats.
I try to put it in the door thing.
I do
and
too.
That drives my husband.
Like I've got the inside
bonkers.
pocket of the door
Yeah.
and it's full of receipts because I hate receipts. Someone's like, here's your receipt. I'm going through McDonald's. You keep that to yourself. Don't you put it in here.
Sometimes you need those because they have
I know
tax
because
write-offs.
yes,
but,
I
you
know.
Yeah, I'm learning all of that.
Oh,
as-
yeah. Yeah, I should be better at it. I usually put it in like a phone app now because I don't want the receipt.
Right.
I once had my car broken into and it looked like it was a neighborhood sweep. That's what I think it was. And they go through and they want to buy, steal your GPS or your just whatever you have left in there. And mine was broken into. I was living with my parents. I had just recently become single again. And what they did with mine was they broke my cup holder. I had nothing. They broke my cup holder and they searched in my middle console.
Oh, they're looking for change, for money.
And it was stuffed full of crappy old receipts, wadded up, and it looked like receipt, just had thrown up in my car. So I was furious that receipts had gone everywhere and they broke my cup holder. So
that would make me mad.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey from your previous career, your previous life, to focusing solely on photography because you just retired.
I have 5.5 days left.
Oh my gosh. I got you like right at the end.
Yes.
We're closing chapters here.
Talk about, I said to my husband, I was like, oh my God, no more paychecks for me to have to play money with. This is going to be quite interesting.
Is it scary?
It's a little scary because it's change.
Yeah.
Change
is scary.
Change is scary. I realize change is inevitable. This was not planned to be at this time. I was going to work till I was 65, but my husband had a heart attack in January. My older brother called me in February to tell me he has stage 4 lung cancer and it has spread. So that news wasn't great. Like, okay, I had just gone part-time, planning to finish out till I hit Medicare. And then my neighbor passed away suddenly.
Wow.
At age 78, a lady who was totally healthy had a heart attack. And I went to her wake, and there's a funny story about that, because when I got there was a group of women doing a selfie. I'm like, who the heck does a selfie at a wake?
Well, I feel like now I have to do that just to tick you off.
No, I'll tell you
I wanna
why.
hear it.
So I'm talking to the son, and I go up and I talk to Wayne, and we're talking, and finally he just looked at me. He goes, I heard about Greg and what happened to him in January. And I was like, yeah, he wouldn't let me take him to the hospital because it was a snowstorm, yada, yada. And I was like, we dodged a bullet. And he looked at me, this sweet 78-year-old Southern man, goes, then why the hell are you still working?
Oh.
And I looked at him and go, well, Wayne, there's this thing called health insurance because my husband is on Medicare.
Right.
And my husband was with the Chicago Police Department. And for me to stay on their insurance, I could, it was like almost my mortgage payment.
Okay.
It was ridiculous. And it's like, so I was working at Edward Jones and I've got insurance.
Right.
And he looked at me, he goes, well, when are you going to be 65, young lady? And I'm like, in about a year. He goes, can't you make the payments? I go, well, we could, but then it just, I like working. It's who I am. It's what I've been doing since I was 16, either full or part-time. And he's like, tomorrow's not promised. So, and getting back to the group of ladies.
I want to hear this because that is strange.
I go by this group of ladies and I'm like, excuse me. And I looked at this redhead and I did a double take. And the son is now standing at the back of the funeral parlor and he's laughing because he knows that I am like, lady, you look familiar. So I walked up to him and I'm like, I'm losing my crap. And he goes, what's so funny, Marianne? I go, that lady over there could be a double for Reba McEntire.
Uh-uh.
And he looked at me and he laughed. He goes, "You're not losing it. That is Reba." His younger brother is married to the daughter. Reba was her stepmom when she was married to Narvel Blackstock or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll take your word for it.
And he said to me, he goes, "She is just your average everyday person." He goes, "She's a very decent person. I'm not surprised she's here because she and my mom loved each other."
Oh.
So I come home and I said to my husband, I go, "You're never going to guess who I saw at the wake." And then I was like, and then Wayne is like, "Why am I working?" And my husband looked at me and goes, "That's a good question." And I go, "Well, we know it's the insurance." And he's like, he sat down and figured it out. He goes, "Well, if we don't do this or we don't do that and we're careful, you could retire." I'm like, "You'd be okay with it?" He goes, "I've been retired since 2018. Yeah, it'd be nice to have you home." So the next day I went in and I was like, "Pete, we got to talk."
Surprise! June 26th. So you guys have lived here since 2018?
We first bought our house in 2015, and I had always told my husband, "When you retire, if my mom is still alive, you can move. I'll be back and forth." She passed away in April of 2017. The day we buried her, our son drove back to college for the first time all by himself. We were walking home, and I just looked at him. I was like, "I don't want to live here anymore." I look out my kitchen window and I look in my neighbor's kid's bedroom. There's concrete, there's cars, there's airplanes. It's like, "I don't think I can do this." And he's like, "Then go to Tennessee." Brought my camera with me.
How long have you been taking photos? I mean, to the extent that you're doing.
Okay, I took a photography class in college and I loved it because I was in central Illinois photographing cows and barns.
So nothing's
figure.
changed.
Bought myself a camera and it sat because, you get married, you have kids, you just don't have the time.
And you didn't fully study photography
No,
in school.
just one class.
You went for, what was it, marketing?
Communications. Actually, I entered as a biology major. I was going to go live with Jane Goodall till I figured out all those creepy bugs were not for me.
Ooh, no, thank you. Yeah.
No. But, the photographs would have been amazing.
Yes, they would have been.
So, fast forward, we bought our house in 2015. In 2016, my girlfriend, who was living in Milwaukee at the time, called me. She goes, "I have tickets to CMA Fest. We're on the floor, 8th row." So I went and I pull out my camera. I show the camera to my neighbor who was a wedding photographer, and he's like, "Marianne, nobody uses film." So lo and behold, 2 days later, thank you, Amazon and my husband, a camera shows up in my office. A digital, it was a Fuji, just kind of a point and shoot.
Yeah.
And I took it to Nashville and had a blast with it. And finally I said to my husband, I was like, "I think I want to trade this in and get a real camera, change lenses and all that." So when the Cubs won the World Series, which I've seen the Cubs, the Sox, the Bulls, the Bears, they've all won a championship game in my lifetime.
Well, I grew up a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
My dad was from Illinois, and so we were not fair weather fans. I remember that we loved them even when they sucked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was an exciting time.
The Barton curse. Yeah.
Yes.
So while we were at the parade, my girlfriend and I just went around to all the photographers and asked them, well, Canon versus Nikon, because I was kind of on the fence.
Right.
And the majority of them had Nikon, and the reason was Nikon has the best glass, meaning the best lenses.
Oh.
So I ended up with the Nikon, and when I moved here, the photography just kept getting more and more, and my husband's used to me screaming, "Stop! I got to take this picture." So it's just kind of been there, and I started selling my photos at the Dogwood Exchange.
Yeah.
And Lindsay over at Pretty Close clothes shop.
We just talked about her in the previous podcast.
I
So
love her.
I'm trying to get her on. She's stretched out over to Cookville now.
Yeah.
And she was like, this is just not a good time. And I'm like, can we make it a good time?
Well, she carries my flower photos in both stores.
Oh.
And then I'm a member of the Art Guild. Actually, I'm publicity co-chairperson. I entered their shows. I've had a photo exhibit in the Emporium in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
I've been entering contests and stuff, and I'm very lucky that last year, I think it was 23, for the spring call, airport art call, one of my photos was selected. So it was in the airport, and it sold 4 copies.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I've just been doing different things, and it's, somebody said to me, and I got really upset, my good friend Darcy from Meditative Esthetician.
She's incredible too.
I
want her on. I've asked her on, and she's busy right now
yes,
too.
Yes, she's getting ready to open her
Yes,
bookstore,
she is.
which is really cool. She just said to me, people that are doing more than you will never criticize you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people that are doing less. I am naturally, though, as I'm getting older, I'm getting over it, more shy, like a shy extrovert, if that's such a thing.
An introvert, extrovert.
Yeah.
I've been accused of the same. Like I tell people, I'm far more extroverted online than I am in real life.
Yeah. But I it's just asking, like I had sent a message to Angela at the Grinder House, like, do you ever showcase artists?
Mm-hmm.
So for like 4 or 5 months, my photos were hanging in there.
Yeah.
Right now, I have photos hanging in the Lawson McGee Library in Knoxville.
Awesome.
And I have photos over at Common Grounds, which they're doing an amazing job over there.
I want to talk to them. I haven't even been over there yet, but I've heard so many great things.
The customer service there is amazing.
Oh, I may have to go after today.
Yeah, their hot chocolate is awesome.
In the world of small business, every day feels like a whirlwind. Owners are constantly balancing tasks, struggling to find time for what matters most. But in this busy season, relief arrives. Introducing the Autumn Agency's Small Business Division. Imagine a team that not only designs websites and masters SEO, but also provides essential business tools and strategies. With the Autumn Agency, owners gain access to expert business consultants who offer personalized strategies and tools to optimize operations. From marketing plans to financial insights, our consultants empower you to make informed decisions that drive growth. Digital marketing, social media, branding, e-commerce, every aspect of your business is perfected. Visit us today at theautumnagency.co and let us be your autumn.
You know who else you need to interview?
Who?
Angela Witzel from the Dogwood Exchange.
I have every intention of reaching out to her. So, yeah.
Yeah, Angela does the Homestead Artisan Festival. It's every May and every October.
Okay, great. So that tells me I need to interview her in September.
She built this beautiful cabin out in the Homestead area, and she's building a barn, and she has her store there, and she's doing farmer markets out that way. It's a community out there. They need things like that.
You know, and that's really incredible because, you know, I want to say growing up, but just, I don't, maybe it's just human nature. It makes sense that all your businesses should just be downtown, right there. It's convenient. But this is a big county, and Homestead is a community.
Yes.
And, you know, I forget often like how easy it would be just for them to have like a Dollar General. You know, I know we get like the, you know, people talk crap about, oh, it's another Dollar General. There is not a Dollar General in this community that I have not needed yet.
Yeah.
I have had to stop at every one of them at some point, even if it was like 5 minutes. Yes. Like I need those. And I know that the people that live in that area, they definitely need, like, I forgot milk. I can go to the Dollar General instead of having to drive all the way across town to Kroger.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't think about like these other businesses, like, you know, like you said, Angela has her Dogwood Exchange on 127. I thought, well, that's a really strange place. But Darcy is about to open her bookstore over on the Old
Mill Road.
Yes, really. I feel like, oh man, that's out in the middle of nowhere. But how convenient are these places to that community?
It's all local farmers, local sourdough bread, a local cookie lady. Pockets and Posy is there with fresh flowers.
Yes.
So it's local supporting local, and it's keeping money here in the community.
And we're going to talk about that in a bit here, because I know that you're big on supporting local. And, and that's something else I really want to put out there, because I know that there seems to be a disconnect between Crossville and Fairfield. And you live in Fairfield.
Yes.
And you are not
do.
a generational person here in Crossville. You moved here. And so you're a transplant.
Yes.
But in all fairness, so am I. And some people remember that, and some people don't. They think I'm born and bred here, and that is not true. And I really want to push the fact that people that move here, whether they've moved here to retire or moved here to be closer to other family that retired, or for whatever reason, you guys love your community. And like, here you are, you're one of the Glade people, I quote, because we know, and anyone who's listening, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I heard all. In fact, when I first started, they told me, don't tell people you live in the Glade, because you're going to hear all about, there's like what?
How entitled you guys are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're,
they're there.
They're there.
But they're here too. And there really isn't a disconnect, because, I play music. Crossville isn't as crazy about my music. I do jazz blues, but, I play over in Fairfield, and they are the most welcoming people. I'm not saying that Crossville isn't welcoming, but they like my music. And so when people are like, well, I don't like the people in the Fairfield Glade, I'm like, those are my people. they are so welcoming.
I will say, since we bought in 2015 and the population has grown, when we first moved here, everybody waved to each other.
Yes.
And that was really weird coming from a big city of Chicago.
Yes. Because you guys probably thought you were going to be shot at in Chicago. No, I'm joking.
I've ended up in a few neighborhoods out exploring. But that seems to be kind of going away, and it's kind of sad.
It is. It's the transplants, and they're not used to it. It doesn't come naturally.
That, and it's also what we've all been through.
Yeah.
It's been a rough couple of years.
The last 4 years have definitely been a transitional period for, I think, everybody. Of that, I'm sitting here talking about, I've lived through a pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it wasn't like the Spanish flu or anything. I'm not going to downplay the pandemic, but I'm going to say, like, just the aftermath and what the situation,
the damage it's done.
It was eye-opening, and it changes you. It does change you. And I do feel like I've changed since 2020.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely have. It really, that lockdown was rough.
Oh, it was good for me. I was on the road a lot. And so being locked down required me to be at home more with the people I love the most. And I realized I had lost time with them. And so I know
that's something you don't get back.
And here I know at the time I had a 1-year-old, and however old he was, I can't even think of how old Liam was, 4 years younger. He was 6. I had 2 teenagers, one that was learning how to drive, the other one who was getting ready to start, the last end of his high school. And I realized that I like music. I like to play music. I need to be more selective with what I play, where I play, and I want to be home more.
Right.
So I know that people are like, hey, are you quit playing because you're getting older? And I'm like, well, partly, yeah, because no one wants to look at an older woman playing on stage.
And
they want to look
bull.
It's cruel.
It's totally bull.
I hate it. But at the same time, I really like being home with my kids.
Yeah.
I do still play out, but I have gotten very selective from 2020.
But you've also branched into other things.
I know.
Which,
well, I've always had curiosity, so here we are.
Yes, you did my website, and I get tons of compliments.
I did.
On it.
I'm so glad you get compliments on it.
Yeah. There's a lady I met on Instagram. Her name's Erin. She owns Refined Boutique down in Smithville.
Okay.
So she's like, I didn't get to meet you at the Walnut Art Walk. Why don't you come down and see me someday? So I did. She's like, I want to talk to you. I'm going to be her featured artist in the month of July there.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell me the story behind the name Altered Life Photography, because I remember you and I spoke about it, and I guess you got an email of someone asking you, are you altering the photos and everything?
Yeah.
And that is not, I don't have Photoshop, but I'm a photographer. Clearly not what you're doing.
No, actually, my girlfriend in Chicago, who's a marketing genius, we were working on names, and everything I liked was taken.
Yeah.
Somebody had taken it. So she came up with that, altered. And I was like, well, that implies I'm altering the image. She's like, no, you're trying to alter people's view of what's around them. That photo you have of the old fence with the wild daisies growing, how many people do you think stop and see the beauty there? That is your thing.
You're just trying to alter our
People's-
view,
Yeah.
not your
Like
images.
my friend's husband who says every sunset is the same. I
Yeah.
beg to differ.
What about landscape and nature photography? What is it that captivates you?
It speaks to my soul.
I think it's incredible that, and I do want to bring up the difference in what you do compared to other photographers. And this is in no way to discourage or, make it seem like you're superior or anything. But when I hire a photographer to take pictures of my family, I'm going to pay for it.
Right.
I'm going to showcase it somewhere, whether on Facebook, on my phone, on my walls, somewhere.
Right.
You take pictures of whatever inspires you. And then from there, people decide if they want to display it on their phone, on their Facebook, on their walls.
Yeah.
So you have I want to say a steeper hill to climb in that respect.
Right. Because I'm not a wedding photographer. I'm not maternity shots or newborn or engagement. That's just not my thing.
Yeah, people buy your work because what you saw spoke to them.
Right.
That's
I had
incredible.
A lady, she lives out in Tansy. I have this photo of tulips, and not only did she buy it, she hung it in her kitchen, sent me pictures, and then invited me out to come see it for myself.
That's incredible.
It was.
That's I love those stories. That's so
It was
neat.
like, wow. And I sat there, I think, for 2 hours talking with her just about life and different things. And it was an enjoyable afternoon.
Yeah. It's amazing when, as an artist of any kind of medium, and you've reached somebody with
Right,
what
because
you do.
Art is truly subjective.
Do you have a creative process when capturing your perfect shots, or is it literally you driving down highways and going, oh, I got to stop?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like if I go out to the UT Gardens, I know I'm going to be doing flower photography, hopefully butterflies and bees. The winters here, I was promised no cold, no snow.
Well,
They kinda lied.
They kind of lied, but it's not as bad.
No, it's not as bad, but still. I wish we had a florist here in town that had a flower bar where you could pick and choose the flowers you want to make bouquets.
See, I've never even heard of that.
They have it at Glass Tangerine
In Cookville. Yes.
It's
okay.
not real cheap, but what's cheap nowadays?
All right. I know.
Because flowers at Food City and Kroger's and the florists have gone up,
Yeah.
but I get it. I do know some people that are flower farmers, and I am going to their fields to photograph them. That's like a happy place for me. But that's what gets me through the winter, kind of.
Okay. You don't take winter shots. I've never seen you with winter shots.
I have.
I've seen fall.
I have a few. It's just I am not crazy about driving in the snow on these hills.
Not
And I don't
invincible.
like the cold.
No, I don't like the cold. I used to say I liked winter better than summer because my attitude was like, in the winter, you can just pile it on and finally warm up. In the summer, you can be butt naked and still hot.
Yeah.
But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized I really am not crazy. I mean, I find beauty in just about every season.
Yeah.
But if I could eliminate one, it would be winter.
Especially like when we get snow here, it's gorgeous.
Oh, it is beautiful.
But the rest of the time, it's brown and gray and kind of ugly.
Dreary.
Dreary.
Yeah.
That's the word, dreary.
It is. January, February, and March. That's my struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I know that winter doesn't even hit until the end of December, but November and December have like their own.
The holidays.
It's the holidays.
You've got
It's still dreary outside, but everyone's got lights on their house.
Yeah.
And I love Halloween. So
Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas. And
then
my husband laughs at me because he's like, you're like a 6-year-old with all your little blow-ups and this
you
and
do
that.
have
And
blow-ups because I was over at your house this last year. Yes, I remember the blow-ups. That's right.
And it's like, I want all that up. I want it looking festive.
Yeah.
Because it's so dreary. Plus, when I go walk the dogs at night, at least it's lit.
Yeah.
So I can see what's
So you can see
coming
what you're
at
doing.
us.
And maybe we don't even think about it, but it's so cheerful to drive around and see everyone celebrating and decorating. And I used to go through and honk at the houses, which now I look back and I was like, that was quite obnoxious. Why would I do that? But if I saw someone with like their lights and it was all, I would honk at their house. It didn't matter what time of night. And I'm like, I need to stop that.
It seems like the world's a little kinder, maybe.
It does seem that way. It really does. And I like that.
Yeah, so do I.
So, we mentioned you like to take pictures of or photographs. I feel like I don't want to call it pictures when you're a photographer. Mm-hmm. It's like you take photographs.
Yeah.
Let's be a little bit more refined about it, Melissa. You say you go to flower farms and you've gone to the Glass Tangerine. What are some of your favorite locations to take photographs at? Because I'm sitting here thinking anybody who wants to take photographs, and I know that it's altered life, it's, your eye, you're sharing your eye with the world. And I know if other photographers want to use the same places here, they're not going to get the same shot because they have a different eye.
Right.
But I also think of just the inspiration of just going there. Like, I just want to see the beauty for myself. I can't take a picture of it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of waterfalls that I have yet to go to.
Oh.
I want to canoe up to the bottom of Burgess Creek.
Yeah.
Or Burgess
Falls. Yes.
And that I will not take my camera because of the water, but I just kind of want to do that and hang out. Just hit the back roads and just find things.
Yeah, you're not really going anywhere where everybody's at. You're just I'm exploring.
Like every day when I drive down Peavine and you get past the billboards and all that, you look and you see the mountains out there.
Oh gosh, it's gorgeous out that way.
It's gorgeous. There's a spot like when you drive to Knoxville, when you're coming back, it's at mile marker 332. You come around the bend and there's this big mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Or hill, whatever, right there. And I always tell my husband, he goes, I know this is your favorite spot of the drive. And I'm like, there's just something about it.
No, I feel like I'm on the same wavelength at the Apple Festival that last year. We go see all the vendors and someone had a photograph. And I ran directly to it because we were actually trying out spices. And I saw it from across the way and I ran over to it. I'm like, that's my favorite tree. I knew where it was. I was like, is this in front of that? I think it's a Christian church. I don't even pay attention to the church. On Highway 70 in Crab Orchard. It's like, that's my favorite tree in the fall. And I was like, there's another one that's like right beside it, but that's my favorite tree. And it just makes me, and I've never stopped to just look at it because I feel like that would make me a creeper. But
no, I
knew
a favorite
exactly
tree where I go sometimes for the sunset. I have a barn, except unfortunately now on the land they're building a subdivision.
It's sad. It's necessary, I know, but it's sad.
It's sad. So I have to find another. So.
Well, I think one of the coolest things is that you've had work in the Tyson McGee Airport. Yeah. Like, that's really incredible. What does that feel like to know that you have your work in a public, very high traffic area.
You know what's funny about that? The most of our region is in Knoxville.
Okay.
And I would get snapshots from the financial advisors if they're traveling, like on their kids will be by. They'd send me the photo, like, we know this person.
What was the photo? I'm curious. I can't remember.
It was an eagle.
An
a
eagle.
Bald eagle taking off from a tree.
You have it. Is it the one that's in your backyard or something? I know that there's one that
we have
a regular visitor.
Right now we have 3 babies that are nuts. I swear the parents are doing crack or something. Every year they get goofier.
Do you have any tips for photographers that are looking to build we can start with just their business in photography, but also maybe enhance their online presence?
Social media is important. It doesn't mean sales, though.
No.
So people have to realize that. You can have 10,000 followers and it doesn't really mean anything.
That's true. I work social media, so I know that truth.
But it's important to have that. Look for opportunities for contests, for art shows and stuff.
Right.
That's basically what I've done.
And I mean, of course, you don't have people coming out and saying on like social media groups saying, hey, I've got this great barn. Can somebody come out and photograph it? Like people are like, we're getting married and we're looking for photographers, where people come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, you get 90 responses.
Yes.
And I'm like,
ooh,
I didn't know there were that many wedding
photographers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But you're not getting that with like, can someone come out here and take a picture of my flower?
Yeah,
like,
no.
I can do that. You've started working with Local Tennessee.
Yes.
What is that? And tell me about this collaboration you have with them.
The lady that started it, her name's Casey Bryant. She's in Clarksville, and she felt local businesses are the backbones of these small towns.
Mm-hmm.
Their chamber there didn't do a whole lot to support local business, and I'm finding that's not uncommon because, their budgets are limited and
Yes.
promote Buc-ee's or whatever, they bring in big tax dollars.
Right.
So the little guy kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
So they have developed an app, and it lists, local businesses get a free listing, and you can put photos and describe your business and all this on this app. So if, say, I go to Smithville, I can look up local businesses. I've already been in 3 businesses there, and they're like, oh, sign me up. We need this present.
It doesn't cost them a dime.
Doesn't cost them a dime.
Why wouldn't you jump on that?
Yes. Darcy is doing it for her bookstore. That's going to be opening, I think, by the end of June.
I think it's the end of June or early July. I know she didn't have time for me this month. So yeah.
Dogwood Exchange is part of it.
Incredible.
I still have a lot more businesses, but with working, it's been hard.
But in 5 more days, she'll be able to reach out to you.
Yeah, local businesses, you get a listing. It's free, and it's like people have them download the app.
Okay.
I go in, I take photos. There's a sticker that you can put on your door that says shop local, and it's got a QR code that people can hit it and download the app.
Wow.
And see what's available in the community.
Okay.
It's the movement spread into Murfreesboro, and there's a young lady who's doing it out in Maryville.
All right.
And I was like, Crossville needs this, because I know several small business owners that they can't afford to belong to the chamber.
Right.
Not everybody can.
No.
And they need the help. And, you stop shopping at Target. I haven't shopped at Target since I moved. Target doesn't give a darn.
No, they don't.
They don't sponsor local ball teams.
They do not. But your
things
mom
that
and pop businesses do.
And they need as much help
as they help us in the community.
Right, because you close down a store, not only you lose tax revenue, you lose jobs. People now have to leave to go elsewhere to shop. So your other businesses are going to suffer because of it.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, Target doesn't sponsor the high school football team or the booster club or
Yeah, they
whatever.
don't. They don't have to.
No.
Everybody knows who they are.
Yeah. And they don't miss you.
No, they don't miss you.
You stop shopping at a local store here, they miss you. They're trying to put food on their table for their family. So I'm going to be ramping that up as I retire. And I've got a whole list of businesses to go talk to them. And Local Tennessee then does a free social media post one a year
Okay.
on both Facebook and Instagram to draw attention to your business. And it's a grassroots movement. Now, if you want to get more in depth and have like a full website with whistles and bells, you can sign up for that.
I'm sure there's packages they have to pay for. Right.
Right. But you don't have to if you can't afford it. And it's just a way. So I'm coming into Crossville. Well, what's here? And you can see Dogwood Exchange, M&B Book, Pretty Clothes Shop, Poppy's Florist, whatever. All these local businesses that are trying to make a go of it and keep this community alive. Because without sponsorships, local businesses, without the sponsorship of the ball teams, God knows what's going to happen to them. And then what do your kids do? Keeping them active and out of trouble is huge.
It's a huge undertaking. It is.
Because I have a friend, her son is a recovering heroin addict, and I asked him when my son was like 14, I go, what do I do? He goes, know what he's up to, know his friends, know what he's doing, be involved.
Oh yeah, I'm on my kids like white on rice. They are so, and I don't applaud, I don't want to say I don't want to glorify, but I don't glorify that I'm so busy, my family's so busy, but my family, I make sure that they're involved at least in one thing.
Right.
Get involved in one thing.
You don't want kids so overscheduled they have no downtime.
And I think that's unhealthy.
That's unhealthy too.
Absolutely.
There's a good balance between the two of them.
Yes, get involved in at least one thing, show some sort of focus into it, pour your time into it.
And parents show up at their events.
Absolutely. And I know my husband, his family, he came from a family of 7. There were 5 boys. And of course, financially they struggled. At one point they only had one vehicle and I know that he told stories that his dad struggled to go to church. They would, take 2 carloads to the church with all those kids.
Yeah.
But his mom wanted to come to their wrestling meets and their band stuff. And so she became a bus driver. So she could take the groups to these events and then she could stay and watch the kids. And that was important to her. And that's really incredible. And I do, the hardest thing is when you have like a ton of kids and they're all involved in several different things across town, across state. Yeah. And then there's only one of you or there's only 2 parents. And we've done that. And that's struggling.
My boss has that issue. He has 5 kids.
Oh,
and
wow.
him, his wife, and his in-laws, somebody shows up.
Yes,
Family member
it's a tag team effort.
It's a tag team effort, total. I only had 1 child, so it wasn't hard. But for my husband, who worked 3 to 11,
right,
that was difficult. He would show up on his dinner break for a little while. So at least Gregory saw him there and was like, oh, Dad showed up.
Yeah.
Mom was always there. And he took up wrestling, a sport that I find, but
it's barbaric. My older 2 wrestled and I did not like it at first. And then I realized it's really, my husband wrestled. And that's where I learned.
Don't understand
it looks so brutal. And I've seen some brutal things. Now, what I've learned is that people typically get hurt when they don't give way. Like if you're tagged and you're like, I'm not going to go down, go down. I mean, or my son pulled someone's shoulder out of socket one time. And we call him the praying mantis. He is a skinny, twerpy guy that really couldn't hurt anybody. But this kid was not going to give way to a loss. And it happened. My son felt horrible.
Yeah.
It was like, I didn't mean to do that.
I had a nurse tell me, a hospice nurse, nobody ever told her they wish they had worked more. And the only true thing you really leave behind on this earth after you leave, all the fancy houses, cars, whatever, mean nothing. It's your children and how they treat other people and how they raise their own children.
Right.
it affects generations.
It absolutely does. And that's why it's so important that we do pour into our kids. We get them involved. We show up at their events.
Right.
Yeah.
But without small local businesses,
They're not sponsoring your events.
then things go south
It
fast.
really does. It really does. I think that's incredible. It's something I want to point out again that, here we have someone who is a transplant. You are not from here. You were not born and raised here. You haven't even lived here half your life.
No.
And here
6
you are,
years.
passionate enough to say, I want to support small business. I'm getting involved in this grassroots effort to help our local community. It is important to you. And that is so incredible because I think there seems to be a lot of lost communication in this idea that people come here because it's cheaper. And it is. Let's not lie about it. It's cheaper to
Our
live here
state
than...
tax is pretty darn high here.
Well, that is true. But, like, I know the cost of living is a lot easier here. And they think that it's just, well, we're taking advantage of it and we're trying to make it something that it's not. Here you are. You're like, I'm not telling people to bring in Publix. I'm not telling the world to bring in a Target. I'm saying, let's get out there and support Pretty Clothes Shop. Let's support, M&B Books.
Yeah.
Let's get out there and support Cahoots, Grinder House, Common Grounds, all of these. And you're like, this is who we're going to support and we are going to help them. How do we get this app?
You can download it. I can, I will send you the thing because I wanted to talk to you about the Autumn Agency.
Yes.
Listed on there.
Well, and I was thinking also because, I was talking to Jessica previously for the other episode and, she's giving all these resources of how to get into recovery and how to help you while in the recovery. And I'm thinking, all right, so, my little hamster wheel's turning while I'm talking to her. And I'm like, I need to have a resource page on my whatsupcrossville.com and, have, it connected to each episode. If you hear something like, oh, I need to look into that, go to the website. You can look at that and I'll have the links and everything. If you have the app, I want to shove that on there so people can look at it.
Okay, perfect.
And
I will get you that. I don't have it with me.
No. You're good. You're good.
I just learned how to make a QR code for my website. So
Ooh,
there.
fancy schmancy.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I've put it on my, I've discussed before, I play jazz blues and that caters a lot more to an older crowd. And so trying to be up to the times, I put a QR code on my business card.
Yeah.
You know how many people in my target market is going to use a QR code? They're like, no, just give me a website. I'll just type that sucker in. But I see that there's a point, people are changing over, but it was one of those, I'm not going to scan that.
Yeah. They got to get used to it because to them, newfangled technology.
It's little, it can be overwhelming. And, it's like I quit printing off CDs because I was like, you can stream it online. And people are like, I don't do that. Let me print you off some CDs so you can buy that. Never mind. It's one of those deals. Let me just do that for you. Are there any other local events that are coming up or showcases where we can see your work?
Well, I am expanding into, I applied and was accepted to the Gallatin Art Crawl.
Wow.
That they're having, and that's a week from Saturday, the 22nd in the afternoon.
Okay.
And of all things, they put me in a flower shop with a family that owns a flower farm. My husband's like, oh God, we'll never see you again. And then the Dixon Arts Council is having an event on the 29th from 2 to 7 where the Traveling Nashville Symphony Orchestra is going to play. And then I'm doing the first Friday in Cookville in July.
Okay, so you're staying really, really busy.
I'm trying to.
Well, that's good.
Trying to.
That's good. And people can go to your website and purchase prints and just even look at them for a while before you fall in love with something.
Or if they see me on social media and there's a photo that I haven't put up on my website, all they have to do is send me a message. I don't take non-fungible tokens, by the way.
Okay.
I don't even know what the heck those are, but...
I was like, I don't even know what that is.
I don't
need
either.
to be schooled on this.
I've read something about it. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't know. For some reason, call me old-fashioned. Scam.
Yeah, it sounds like a scam. I'm sitting there, I've never heard of that. Why don't you just use your credit card or pay me in cash?
No, because I see that all the time. People, I love your artwork. I'd like to buy some for NFTs. And I'm like, no, thank you. First of all, I work in the finance industry, so I can't do anything like that because we're regulated. Everything I do outside of my office, I have to report to my home office, to our compliance people, make sure they're okay with it.
You can check out Marianne's work with Altered Life Photography at, if I'm correct, it's www.alteredlifephotography.com.
Yes.
Which is funny that I'm asking because I'm like, I built that website. So I'm sitting there thinking, I think that's what it is. It seems like it was pretty cut and dry. They can also follow you on social media. You're on Instagram
and Facebook. And Threads.
So everyone, if you are interested, and I think you should be interested because I think natural and landscape and barns, all that stuff, that kind of photography, please check it out because it is so inspiring to see, her eye, and she's just incredible with just her perception of what art she sees in the world. And as she said, not all sunsets are the same. So
No, they're not.
maybe you'll see a lot of different sunsets and a lot of different posts with butterflies flying around it or barns. And there's just a lot of beauty in the world. And Marianne is excellent at capturing that. So,
thank you.
check her out on her website and on her social media. And we wish you luck on your retirement. I hope to see a lot of you. Yes. And let's all support this local Tennessee. Like, this is incredible. Download the app. We'll have the app location on our website, which is whatsupcrossville.com. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're coming down, it's right off Interstate 40. It's my beloved hometown, Crossville, Tennessee. And when I leave, I feel so sad, not just because of mom and dad. It's for my love of hometown, Crossville, Tennessee.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of What's Up Crossville. We want to give a shout out to the amazing sponsors for their support. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave us a review, and don't forget to share this episode with a friend. For more information about What's Up Crossville, visit us at whatsupcrossville.com. There, you can find upcoming episodes, resources mentioned in the episode, and even recommend future guests. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the individual speakers and do not represent the policy or positions of this show, its related entities, advertisers, or the Southern Spitfire brand. While our discussions may cover a variety of topics, the content of What's Up Crossville is intended to inform, inspire, and entertain. It should not be used as a substitute for professional advice. For medical, financial, legal, or other professional advice, we encourage our listeners to seek the expertise of a licensed professional who can provide personalized guidance. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of What's Up Crossville.